want to start off by giving all glory and honor to our Heavenly Father, whose name is Yahweh, and the Heavenly Son, whose name is Yahweh Shai, right? We are the children of Israel representing Yahweh's camp in the last days. And we come to you with an impactful lesson, I think, for the nation of Israel, for those coming into this knowledge in the last days, as well as those that been in some level of understanding, for quite some time, such as pastors, Christians that may come across this video. You know what I'm saying? So I'm Brother Yashuv.
I'm Brother Yashawan by Yahweh.
This brother Oniel.
His brother Ephraim.
Officer Ron.
Khan. So as you can see by this title that we have here, right? Say no. What we got up here? So the people like to say that there's no Jew or no Greek, right? But we want to know, who the Greeks are, right? Because many of the people out here have a misunderstanding and a misrepresentation of what the scriptures is talking about in the last days, and trying to fit people into certain prophecies and trying to fit people into the Most High's kingdom that was never designed to be that way. So I would like to first open up with the book of Galatians, chapter 3 and verse 1. Who are the Greeks in the New Testament? That's what we're going to find out tonight through the spirit and power of the Most High and the Heavenly Son, and the understanding of these scriptures, right? We're going to let the word of the Lord be true and every man a liar, right? Thus saith the Lord. All right. So we're here in the book of Galatians, right? The 3rd chapter.
Khan, you want me to read it? You said verse 1.
Khan.
All right, this the book of Galatians, chapter 3, verse 1. It says, "Oh, foolish Galatians, who have bewitched you?"
And that's what we want to know, right? So can we go into that word real quick, bewitched, right? It says, "Oh, foolish Galatians, who have bewitched you?" Right?
Strong's G 940. Moskino.
Right. So let's go down into that definition, and you're going to see that this is going into a place in manner where somebody would right slander you or misrepresent you with evil intent, right, to change the natural doings of what you would probably know in your spirit, right? Which many of us do. We are a very spiritual people, and the Most High put in our spirits to do right. But we have been bewitched by the system, right? We've been bewitched by the institutions, the churches that have lied to us and told us that we was Gentiles growing up. Those of us that grew up in these denominations and learned under these lying pastors that refuse to tell the truth, unfortunately, right? So it says, go back to the scripture.
Khan, it says, "Oh, foolish Galatians, who have bewitched you?"
Right. Who
That
have
ye,
who have bewitched you? Who have misrepresented you and gave you the wrong information, right? And have not told you about the spirit of Christ, right? Who have not showed you the ways of following, the righteousness of Abraham, right? But go ahead and read.
it says that ye should not obey the truth.
That you shall not obey the truth, right? And we know that the truth is what? Following the word, following the law, statutes, and commandments, right? That many of the people that we're going to speak of here tonight once understood that they must follow these law, statutes, and commandments, right? Go ahead.
It says, "Before whose eyes Yahweh Shah HaMashiach have been evidently set forth, crucified among you.
Right.
It says, this only what I learned of you. Receive ye the Spirit by the works of the law, or by the hearing of faith?
Right. All by the hearing of faith, right? But you got to receive the Spirit that comes from the works of the law. You forgot those works of the law, right? And that's what the apostles was going to teach in these different areas, and these many epistles and these letters that was written to many of these Gentile nations in these lands, right? That you once had an understanding to follow these law, statutes, and commandments, but you was tricked, you was bewitched, right? You started to follow idols. You started to worship other gods that you knew not, right? And your fathers didn't know. You understand? So let's go down to verse 28 real quick.
Verse 28, it says, there is neither Jew nor Greek.
It says there's what?
Neither Jew nor Greek.
So right there, that's when our neighbor and fellow loved ones, that are in the institutions, they'll close the book, do a dance, say, see that we can all walk through that gate. But it specifically says right there for a reason that there is no Jew nor Greek, right? So why is it not saying that there's no Jew or Roman? There's no Jew or Samaritan, right? There's no Jew or Palestinian, right? Where are these other nations? There's no Jew or Edomite. Where are these other nations at when it comes to that, right? There's many nations that's written of in the scriptures, but why is it specifically isolating, two fashions of people, right? So can we go into that word right there, both those words, Jew and Greek, right there?
Strong's G 2453, Eudias. Eudias.
Right. So that would be a specific term for who? For the Jews, right? Those would be of what? The Judeans, right? Or the Yehudians or Yehuda or Judah, right? As we say, in the regular terms, so you can understand that we're talking about the tribe of Judah and those that would be amongst the children of Judah, right? Which would be your tribes like Benjamin, parts of Levi was amongst the tribes of Judah. So they took on, that tribal name of being a Jew, right? So let's go to the Greeks. And what do we have there?
Strong's G 1672, Hellene.
Right, Helene, right, Helene, right. So we're going into some bit of an understanding of who we're talking about when we speak of certain things, right? So when you go down into that, because it's kind of blurred, can you read some of these definitions, Brother Ephraim, or somebody that may, yeah.
Gone. It says a Greek either by nationality, whether a native of the mainland, or of the Greek islands or colonies. In a wider sense, the name embraces all nations, not Jews, that made the language, customs, and learning of the Greeks their own. The primary reference is to a difference of religion and worship. A Hellen, a Grecian, or inhabitant of Hellas, by extension, a Greek-speaking person, especially a non-Jew, Gentile/Greek.
Hey, let me get this piece up real quick before you come back in. Hey, Ephraim, can you go to Acts 16:1?
Con. the book of Acts, chapter 16, verse 1. Then came he to Derbe and Lystra, and behold, a certain disciple was there, named Timotheus, the son of a certain woman, which was a Jewess, and believed, but his father was a Greek.
So just like the brother was bringing out in Galatians, where it says neither Jew nor Greek, and then you go into that word Greek and it says Helen, that's the same thing in this Pacific verse right here too. So can you go into Acts 16:1 and go into that word Greek? Because you know when people read the scriptures, they automatically think the Greeks is talking about the so-called Europeans that ruled that land, but that's not always the case, right?
Strong's G 1672, Helene.
Right, Helen,
Helene.
the same word that we just read in Galatians, right? So just like you read in the definitions where it says, uh, can you go down a little bit where it says a Greek speaking person, right? So by that definition, anybody could be a Greek because you had, you know, a lot of different nations that spoke the Greek language, right? Right. So like the brother was going into, those are Greek speaking Jews, right? Or Jews that had the customs of being Greeks, right? But I'm gonna pass it back to King Shu.
Nah. That's beautiful. That you was going into that. You could actually keep going on that. If you want to finish what you was talking about, your point. Yeah. Let me see. So the brother, you was done on that.
Khan, that was it. I just went to that Acts 16:1.
Yeah, so I
Because a lot of people say when they read that about Timotheus' dad, and they say he was a Greek, they say, well, he automatically a Gentile.
Mm-hmm.
But like we was going into that word Helen, that don't mean that brother was a Gentile because his dad was a Greek. Because you had Jews that spoke the Greek language.
Right, absolutely. That's 100% correct, my fair brother. Right. So, like the brother said, that was beautiful. He went into that. I was gonna go into that a little later, but we're gonna keep rolling on with it and start this over because actually this lesson came about, from the previous class that my brother Yashawan, Officer Yashawan, just did so beautifully, breaking down the book of Daniel, the 8th chapter, through the book of Maccabees and going into the certain accounts of these Grecians in these Greeks, right? Which is a beautiful lesson. I said, would advise those that didn't watch it, go and check out that lesson to see what even sparked this class that we're doing right now to go into some of these things. So let's go back into that book of Maccabees real quick to the first chapter and let's start at the first verse, right? So I'll start off reading, and I just want to read one portion of this real quick, and then we're gonna flip over um, to the 12th verse. So, the book of Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 1 says, "And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chittim, right, and had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead the first over Greece, right? So when you go into that, right, he really he just was a person in a specific area of the land of Greece, right? Greece, that land when you go into it. Matter of fact, real quick, Ethan, can you pull up an ancient map of the Greek islands, many of those lands right there, and let's just see what we're looking at here so you can understand what this is, right? So when it goes into that portion right there, Alexander was just ruling over from the start a portion of the Greece lands. There was many leaders that ruled before Alexander in many other areas, right? So if we could pull up a quick ancient map of the lands of Greece, right? Click on this one on the left. Right, let me see that one right there. The first, yeah, okay, yeah, that's beautiful. So can you go in on that one a little bit? Zoom in a little bit on that. All right, so you go on the top right there. You see Macedonia right there, Mount of Olympus, and that's where your boy Alexander, the freak was living at, right? That's the places where he occupied at during a period of time in his rule, right? And you're going to see that many of the Greeks had that freakish, nature, like we went into about setting up gymnasiums, having our people go off, doing things that we would normally do in our lands, right? But we're going to see many of our brothers participated in that act as well, right? So when we go down a little bit on that map, right? At the bottom, you see the lands of Sparta, right? So what we're going into in this lesson here is who are the Greeks in the New Testament, right? Who are the Spartans right here that's down here at the bottom of this map right here that we're going to be going into, you know what I'm saying? To break down and see, what actually took place, right? You got right there in the middle the Corinth, right? So we're going to understand who really ruled and occupied and ruled these places where you could go into and see. And when you pull up other maps to go into that, you see places like Cyprus and all of these different areas, that we'll go into in the book of Acts as well, to show that the apostles, who they were going to and who they was teaching during that period of time, right? So let's go to the book of Maccabees, right? And let's go to the 12th verse. Maccabees chapter 12. Sorry. Maccabees chapter 12. And we're going to bounce around a little bit on this chapter 12 for a second. Right? So let me get the first verse in the book of Maccabees, chapter 1.
The book of Maccabees, chapter 12, verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when Jonathan saw that the time served him,
Mm-hmm.
he chose certain men and sent them to Rome.
Right. So this is a connection that's going on, right? During this time of the Maccabean period, where we have priests that was mixed up in, during this time, and they were sent forth to go to the lands, that they knew our brothers was in during the time of the Maccabean period, like places like Rome, right? And then we're gonna keep reading. Go ahead and hit the next verse.
For to confirm and renew the friendship that they had with them.
Mm-hmm.
He sent letters also to the Lacedaemonians.
So he sent letters also to the Lacedaemonians, right? So now we got to see who are these Lacedaemonians that's written of in the scriptures, right? So many of our people, if you ever stumbled across this book, the book of Maccabees is a great historical book to go into. This also proves, the truth of these scriptures in the last days, for us that stumbled across certain history, and you might have been baffled, growing up, and you read certain stories like the Trojan Wars, right? Many of the Greek wars, right? And you see these names of these people and you mix them up and you say, were these all white people, that was going at it, right? So the Lacedaemonians, right? Hey, brother Ephraim, do you have that other translation,
Which
the annotated apocryphal translation that I sent?
let me
Can you,
double
can you pull that up? Even if you pull it up on there, it'll be the first book of Maccabees and the Cambridge annotated edition of the Apocrypha, right? And we use these different books of translations of the Apocrypha because this is one book that actually carries the other editions of Esdras, right? The 70 those books that was missing from this portion of the Apocrypha. So we go into those books also to get the full understanding of the scriptures, right? So if the brother, can find that real quick. If not, I could pull it up right here.
I'm not sure if this.
Sorry.
Fine. No, I think it's the wrong thing. Salakia, let me see. Was it from the ones you sent me earlier on the chat?
Yeah, come.
Let me pull it up.
Mm-hmm. Oh, praises. So you're gonna see that there's no difference here. It's just a different translation in what we're gonna be showing you to see who these Lacedaemonians are speaking about.
The United States Conference of Bishops.
And Water Brother finding that, I just want to bring out a quick point too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's real important that we go into this history to get understanding on the scriptures, because when you read the so-called Old Testament, you really read about the time of the Persian and the Mede Empire, and then when you read the so-called New Testament, in the beginning it goes straight into the Roman Empire. So you got like a 300-year period that's missing out of the Bible. You see
Right.
what I'm saying? So you got to go into this history to understand what's going on in the so-called New Testament.
Yeah, that was it. Ephraim, what you just said. Right. Just let that ride. Understand this is the same as the Cambridge annotated version of the Apocrypha, right? Just a different translation for you guys to get understanding. Okay, so can you read that one more time?
It says when the book of First Maccabees chapter 12 verse 1, it says, when Jonathan saw that the time was right, he chose men and sent them to Rome to confirm and renew the friendship with the Romans.
Mm-hmm.
He also sent letters to the Spartans.
To the who?
To the Spartans.
So he also sent letters to the Spartans, right? So now you replace that name of the Lacedaemonians with Spartans, right? So basically what they did was they really just showed allegiance to the father and the mother when you break down what they did there in these translations, right? So you have understanding. Sparta, that name Sparta came from the mother of, the wife of Lyconia, okay? When you go into the lands of the Lacedaemonians, the original name there was Lyconia, right? So through Lyconia, the father mixing with the wife of Sparta, right? That's how the name became the Lacedaemonians, all right, which gave reverence to both the father and the wife of that time, okay? And that's why that land you'll see in certain parts when you go on the ancient maps, right, older than that one that Ephraim had pulled up just there, you'll see that it says Lacedaemonian in certain areas. As a matter of fact, when we go into these other scriptures, Ephraim, can you find an older map where it actually says the Lacedaemonians and place of that area there where it says Sparta or Spartans, where we just show on that map? So you can see there's no difference in what I'm saying. Even if you don't, hey, you might have a problem with the Cambridge annotated version of the Apocrypha. I don't know, right? But in the same sense of that, to understand, hey, we chew all of what's right and spit out what ain't right. Okay, that's with everything.
Let's see what this shows.
All right. Right. So you got right there on the bottom there, even right there, Laconia, right? So that would be the same area, but if you find a older map, it should say Lacedaemon or Lacedaemonians, right?
Oh, look at this. At the start of the Lacedaemonian Wars.
Mm-hmm.
See what we got here. Can y'all
Should be
see
down.
that, or should I zoom in some more?
Yeah, zoom in some more. At the bottom there, yeah, that cleared up great. All right, so look at that right there, right at the bottom there. You see that Sparta, and then you see the Lacedaemonian League right there, right? So those are all of the areas where you're gonna find out that these particular Greeks, they ruled the Spartans, right? They ruled all of those areas and took over those lands of Corinth and all of those different areas, right? So now when we go back into the book of Maccabees and we clear up some things to get understanding on who these Greeks are and who these Greeks are in the New Testament when it comes to the areas of why the apostles were sent to these specific areas to preach the gospel unto those that would be alienated, right? So let's go back into the book of Maccabees, and let's just read down a little bit.
Con. He sent letters also to the Lacedaemonians / Spartans and to other places for the same purpose. So they went unto Rome and entered into the Senate and said, Jonathan the high priest and the people of the Jews sent us unto you, to the end ye should renew the friendship which ye had with them, and the league as in the former time.
Right. You got to see now, you got to pay attention to certain things like that, right? And this should be, that's a place that you should highlight for yourself right there, right? That they had with them a league as in the former time. So we're going to understand what this is talking about and why they're bringing to remembrance of these particular Greeks. Hey, listen, we was brothers in the former time. You once had the same understanding that we had, right? You once knew to keep the law. Keep going, brother. Let me get verse 5.
Con. And this is the copy of the letters which Jonathan wrote to the Lacedaemonians. Jonathan, the high priest, and the elders of the nation, and the priests and the other of Jews, unto the Lacedaemonians, their brethren, send greeting. There were letters sent in times past unto Onias, the high priest from Darius, who reigned then among you, to signify that ye are our brethren.
That ye are what?
Ye are our brethren.
So right now he's making it clear in the other, just like the other verse out there, I got a call, but he's making it clear that they are brethren. Very, very important to pay attention that these particular these friendships and these leagues, right? And them these people understanding one another through these letters, that he's specifically telling them, listen, you are our brethren, right? Go ahead, keep going.
At which time Onias entreated the ambassador that was sent honorably and received the letters, wherein declaration was made of the league and friendship. Therefore, we also, albeit we need none of these things, that we have the holy books of scripture in our hands to comfort us.
And that's beautiful right there, right? Because just through the spirit the other I was going through something like last week, right? And I was on a call and I was actually ministering to somebody else, but through the spirit I told them even what I was dealing with at that time, that even though I was of heavy heart and battling something, hey, I had the scriptures for my comfort. I had the pure comforter right here in my hands to guide me and lead me through that hard time that I was dealing with in the spirit, right? So I overcame that flesh, right? That hurt, to understand that my comfort was in these holy scriptures. You see that? The same understanding that they had during this period, right? So let me go down to verse 15.
For we have help from heaven that secureth us.
Right, we got help from heaven that secureth us, and that's why we have the spirit that we have in the last days to go on the highways and the byways to do this work, right? Because we have, you know, the help from heaven to secure us in the last days, right? To comfort us. Go ahead.
So as we are delivered from our enemies.
Right, and we're gonna be delivered from our enemies even in this captivity as well, right? Go ahead.
And our enemies are brought underfoot.
Mm-hmm. Let me get the 19th verse and the 20th verse. All praise.
And this is the copy of the letters which Onaniris sent.
Mm-hmm.
Eris, king of the Lacedaemonians, to Onias, the high priest, greeting. It is found in writing that the Lacedaemonians and Jews are brethren,
right?
And that they are of the stock of Abraham.
And that they are of the stock of Abraham. Read that verse right there too.
Now, therefore, since this is come to our knowledge, you shall do well to write unto us of your prosperity.
That's right. So now they're making the connection to understand, you know what I mean, that these people have prospered for a period of time and they was able to gain certain things, right? By their savage ways that they picked up along the way and conquering lands, right? They prospered in many different ways by the power of the sword, right? Because they also took on that spirit. These particular Greeks that went away, you know what I mean, from the covenant, they understood that they had the spirit to war, right? So now as we linking these together, right, can we go into that Frank Miller book real quick?
We most definitely can.
Let's show a little visual for the people, right? You know, we want to add, you know, some different feels, you know, feels to the videos that we do, showing clips. You know, it's a rainy day out here, man. This is, you know, usually this is movie night for a rainy day, but you know, we got story night through the scriptures.
Big con. And there it is.
All right. So here we go. Frank Miller. This is Frank Miller. This is a beautiful book right here, a comic that this guy put together, right? And we're gonna see what some of these images look like in this comic book here. So let's take a look at it.
Absolutely. Chapter 1, honor.
Honor, right? That's powerful right there, man, because you understand that. Look at how they all together right there, right? All in league together, you know, and that's the spirit that, you know, we're gonna have again, you know, when we come together in that mighty spirit, like Zephaniah 2:1 says. That's why it's important to gather ourselves together, even though these particular brothers went the hell off, right? And started doing things that went contrary to the spirit that we had, you know, through the power and mercy of our King of righteousness, Yahweh Shai. He's going to bring these brothers back into the fold as well. And many of them are amongst us as we speak, right? But that's why we got to do this work throughout the four corners. So let's point out certain things here when we look at these particular brothers right here. You can tell, number one, that these are brothers that this brother that put this book together clearly understood, right? Look at the dreads coming out of the back, right? Look at that. You see that? That's beautiful artistry right there when you look at what he put together to understand you know who this is talking about, you know, to identify, you know, with the people, that the Spartans were actually a people that would look like this. They would have a different spirit on them, that we're going to find out why they had that spirit to even have the dreads, right, that they have. You understand? You know, to even have the mannerisms to rule by that sword that they possess, right? The Spartans, man, were some, you know, vicious warriors, man. You know what I'm saying? I know they got this movie, The 300, But trust and believe, there was more than 300 men on that battlefield during that battle. Okay, that's just what they give account for of those that died, right? So when we go into the records of the Lacedaemonians, right? When we go into the records of the Spartans, right? Or those that had that L, you see that on the shield right there? That's an L right there. That represents who? The lambda, right? And hey, look, you want to know what? You want to know something funny? All right, to the spirit. I was meditating on something earlier, and it came to me very funny. Like I said, it's gonna be a little storytelling, a little movie night for the people, right? Hey, Ephraim, can you pull up a clip from a movie real quick?
Oh, praises, absolutely.
Yeah, can you go? Can you go to the Revenge of the Nerds? The Lamb, the Lamb, the Lambda. Watch this.
Damn.
Yeah, that's crazy, right? To the spirit. Let's see who came to save these particular people who was keeping a Greekish fashion, right? But let's see who the original Lambda Lambdas that started that showed up, right? Let's just see.
Revenge of the Nerds. You said the third one?
Just put in Revenge of the Nerds, Lambda 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 scene. All right.
Oh boy, backup arrives.
Oh man. Yeah, there it is. That's it. Watch this. Let's see what backup arrives for these particular
Y'all are finished.
people that was that needed help, during this time, right? Look at this, right?
Leave him alone.
What did you say?
You heard me.
I'll break his goddamn neck. He doesn't give
You
a
will
fuck.
do nothing of the sort. Don't touch that boy.
Says who?
Says me. You asshole.
Hold it, coach. You just
Look
hold
at
it
this.
right
Look at this right here. Let's see. Look at the brother come out of nowhere with the afro, right? Stopping the whole scene. But let's see what he got with him, right? Let's see who the original lambdas are that.
Oh. There it is. There it is.
There's your symbol, right? You see the symbol on the sweater right there, the L, that lambda, the same L representing the Spartans right there. You see that? They can't hide nothing from us in the last days, man. We're gonna bring, and the Most High is gonna bring everything through our remembrance, even through these foolish movies that we once liked. Like I used to watch this as a kid and over, but now that we're making wise the simple. You understand? The Lord put the spirit on us to remember even these foolish movies that we used to enjoy to bring truth to them, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, we need to put some beards on their faces,
Yeah, of course.
I mean,
yeah.
That's out of ignorance,
That's right. And you see Esau, they dip down in red, right? Looking like the pure Romans, right? The pure Edomite that they supposed to be, looking finished. Look at this guy. He's finished.
Can we get this guy a haircut?
Yeah, right. That guy's finished right there, man. He was a complete idiot in this movie, right? A complete idiot. But that was all I wanted on that. You know what I mean? Yeah. See that? So the real Lambda had to pull up on the scene and show, the truth of what this is in the last days, man, and what we dealing with. You see that? So those Lambda, when you go into it, right? Can you pull up that Lambda real quick, by the way? So yeah. So they can see that we're not making nothing up here. Let's see who these Lambdas really was and what they represented. right? And then pull up that hoplite soldier. Nah, can you go into the actual like the definition? Just pull up lambda to see who and what it's talking about.
Oh, I'm totally spelling it wrong. I think I'm in the wrong spot.
Nah, just go out real quick and go put in lambda and just go ahead and put Lacedaemonians right next to it, so it'll pull up exactly what we're talking about. Yeah.
Let's see what we got here.
All right.
Which one do you want? Spartan Army?
Let me see. It's giving you. I see what's going on. All right, just go up to where it says the lambda and the not the what you got there. It says lambda, just Lacedaemonians. Let me see. Spartan shield. Not the shield itself. Go down. Let me see. It's just going into the shield. Yeah, nah, that's not what I'm looking for. But just going to that hoplite. You got that hoplite?
Come.
Yeah, just pull that up real quick. Yeah. But so really, when you go into that lambda, right, and you might be able to pull it up on yours, because I know if I pull it up on mine, it'll let me see something real quick. If y'all can see my screen as well. Let me just see. Do it here while he's pulling that up. Hey, anytime you brothers, if y'all want to come in and add anything, you know.
Here we go.
So here we go right here, right? So we have a Spartan hoplite, right? And you see, even on this particular brother right here, you can see a clear difference of what he is versus what they gave us in that 300 movie, right? That we all, watched and we, appreciated, those that like movies of war, right? And ancient history battles and stuff like that. But if you could see a clear difference here, all of these particular people got braids and stuff coming out of their hair that you can clearly identify, right? So this would have been a high ranking Spartan right here, right? Which even could possibly have been one of your Leonidas, right? Leonidas, okay, and who he comes from. He was actually the leader during that time of the Lacedaemonians, right? And if you go into certain forms of history, you can see that before Alexander was trained by Aristotle as well, he was also trained in battle by the great Leonidas, who was a brother, right? You got some people who even teach that Alexander was a Jake, right? But we know that he wasn't. That's some other misinformation. But we're gonna stick to
Alexander
the,
the freak.
right. We're gonna stick to the points. Now, he does come from the line of the people that mixed in those areas, right? But if you look up the history, like I said, Leonidas actually trained Alexander in battle, and from the time of his youth up into the time that he started learning certain things from Aristotle. Okay, so let's go back and let's dive into some scriptures to understand that the Lacedaemonians, right, the Lambda, the Spartans, that they was all linked to who? To the Israelites, to the children of Israel, right? It said that they are brethren, right? So we're gonna go into this and find out, who and who ruled those areas that we spoke of in these scriptures, right? And who are the Lacedaemonians, right? And who are these Greeks that fell off in the Old Testament, that would rule these lands during that period? You understand? So there's many different breakdowns on the Grecians, and well, not the Grecians, but the Gentiles in the New Testament, right? And I don't want to shy away from the certain points of going into the other Gentiles, like the Romans in particular, and some of the other Gentiles in the other areas, right, that are Israelites as well. That we definitely go into the scriptures and dissect, through the book of Romans as well as through the books of Hosea to prove those points, to show you, that God's people will always be his people. Okay, thus saith the Lord. So let's go into the scriptures, right? And let's go into the book of Exodus, chapter 38, verse 21, right? Because now what we're gonna do, we're gonna go into the Old Testament to see which one of our brothers fell away from the spirit and who was alienated during the times, and who had certain connections with each other, during certain points and periods, right? So you're going to find out that many of the Levites and the Judites was occupying those Greek lands, right? And was ruling those areas, during a period of time. Well, who was they led by, right? Who took the front seat that wasn't supposed to take the front seat, right? And decided to stand up and take certain roles and positions, right, in the tribes that they wasn't supposed to have. Who set themselves up to be priests, right? Who set themselves up to be the judges of Israel, right? They had that position at one point in time, but they lost it. But they still wanted that position of power when they fell off, right? So we're gonna make it all make sense through the spirit of the Most High, right? So Exodus 28, let me 21.
28 or 38? I think you said 38.
I mean 38, Salati, 38, 21.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The book of Exodus, chapter 38, verse 21.
Mm-hmm.
This is the sum of the tabernacle, even of the tabernacle of testimony,
Mm-hmm.
as it was counted according to the commandment of Moses,
Mm-hmm.
for the service of the Levites by the hand of Ithamar, son to Aaron the priest.
Right. So we understand that the Levites had that service of the Most High, right, to do those things in the temples, right, the sacrifices and many other things, right. But let's keep going.
And Bezaleel, the son of Uri, the
Mm-hmm.
son of Hur, of the tribe of Judah,
Mm-hmm.
made all that the Lord commanded Moses.
All right, so Judah, these particular tribes possess certain skills that the Most High set up. The Most High is just in all his ways. He gave all of the tribes certain positions, you know what I mean, and they all possess certain gifts, that they displayed within this earth. Right? Go ahead.
And with him was Aholiab,
Mm-hmm.
son of Ahisamach, of the tribe of Dan.
Of the tribe of who?
Of the tribe of Dan.
So now we're getting into the tribe of Dan, right? Which is our distant relative, right? Our distant brother that fell from the glory, he fell from grace, right? Our brother fell into idolatry. He lost his way, right? Go ahead.
Of the tribe of Dan, an
Mm-hmm.
engraver,
Mm-hmm.
and a cunning workman,
Mm-hmm.
and an embroiderer in blue,
Mm-hmm.
and in purple,
Mm-hmm.
and in scarlet and fine linen.
So you can understand that through these precepts, Dan possessed many different gifts, right? He was an embroiderer, right? He had skills to perfect the temple and make it the way that the Most High commanded Moses and told these Danites how to position certain things that the Most High, would accept, right? Like the linen and many different things, the craftsmanship to make the temple a certain type of way. Dan possessed all of these gifts, right? The same as well as building ships, right? And becoming masters of the water, the sea people, as they called them at one particular time as well, right? So let's go to the book of Genesis, chapter 49 and verse 16.
Con. That's so funny that you say that, the people of the sea, because I'm sure a lot of people watch the new Game of Thrones, the House of the Dragon series, right? And of course, it's a brother, right, that's playing one of the silver hair people, if you call them, and they are a captain of the sea.
Wow, yeah, I got to get into that. That's one that I didn't watch yet.
Yeah, it's pretty.
I'm definitely a fan of the Game of Thrones series, though.
Mm-hmm. You said 49, Salakia. 49.
Genesis 49 in the 16th verse.
The book of Genesis, chapter 49, verse 16. Dan shall judge his people.
Right. So hold that. Let me get Genesis 30 and verse 6.
Genesis 30, verse 6.
Right.
Con, I get that. You said Genesis 30 and 6.
Con. Hey, at any time any of the other brothers up here want to step in and grab any of these scriptures, I got a plethora. We're gonna run through them as smooth as possible. And let's see if we could possibly do this thing in one go, or if we're gonna have to make a part two. But go ahead.
Con. This Genesis 30 and 6. It says, and Rachel said, God have judged me.
Right. He said, God had judged me. When you go through these scriptures and you understand how the children of Israel were brought into this earth, they all had certain titles when they came out of the womb, right? So go ahead, read that again.
It says, and Rachel said, God have judged me and have also heard my voice and have given me a son. Therefore called she his name Dan.
Therefore she called his name Dan. Hey, can you pull that name Dan up real quick? Right, because you say, we got people that say that, Dan shouldn't have been a judge, right? He didn't have that position, but he did have that position, right? When we go through the books of Judges, right, you're going to see that he's talking about who? He's talking about Dan.
Strong's well, right? H, 1835. Done. Done.
Right. So he said, right, a city in Dan, right, the most northern landmark of Palestine, right? So when you even go into that, when you go into some other things I'm going to go into later, just mark that Palestine right there, because you're going to realize that Dan, right, when he fell off, he occupied and took up a role of causing Israel, the other tribes, to become backsliders, right? And put himself in places that he shouldn't have been, right? So, but go ahead down.
Kind of
right
Genesis.
There? No. Right here it says judge, right? One of the first and the definitions on the strong right there, a judge, right? So Dan is a judge. That's what was given, right, to him through the Spirit of the Lord. But he lost that, right? He lost that. One of the most mightiest warriors in Israel for a time was who? Right? Samson. Right? Samson was a mighty judge during his time. All right. Matter of fact, can we hold where we at? Let's get Judges chapter 13 real quick. And I think the let me see, some around the 10th verse, maybe. Let me see. Judges 13.
13:5.
Let me see.
For lo,
Yeah, con. Yeah. Let's start at 5 with that. Yeah. Matter of fact, let's make it make sense, right? Let's go up to let's go up to 2. Let's just go down for a second. Let's go to 2 real quick. See what we're talking about.
The book of Judges, chapter 13, verse 2.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a certain man of Zorah,
Mm-hmm.
of the family of the Danites.
Of the family of the Danites, right? So now let's go down to your point in verse 5. All praise.
For lo, thou shalt conceive
Mm-hmm.
and bear a son,
Mm-hmm.
and no razor shall come on his head.
Mm-hmm.
For the child shall be a Nazarite unto God from the womb.
Right. You had many, you had our brother John the Baptist that took up that role, right, as a Levite and took the Nazarite role. You had many people in the scriptures that took up that vow to be a Nazarite. Right. Go ahead.
And he shall begin to deliver Israel out of the hand of the Philistines.
So understand this. Samson was he was what? He was a deliverer during his time. We got to understand that there's many people that the Most High put in this earth to be deliverers, right? We also have the mighty Yahushua, who's going to be the ultimate deliverer, okay? But don't get it twisted. We have many deliverers. Even when you go into the book of Obadiah, right? 1 and 21, you understand? It talks about those deliverers on Mount Zion, right? You got Moses was a deliverer, okay? Right? Look at that. Go down real quick. Yeah, that right there, Yasha, right? You see that? Those are all of the attributes of a savior, right? So we gotta stop playing with the word of the Lord in the last days and make this all make sense, right? Avenge, right? When you look at some of these words, right? To save, deliver, okay, right? Yeah, look at that right there. Go down to that right there in the definitions, right? Look at that. No, at the top right there, right? Be safe, bring having salvation, but go to the at the same place where you was at, right? Where it says Yasha, right? Primitive root. Look at that right there. You see that? So all of these things are the attributes that what he had the spirit of the Hamashiach Yahweh upon him, right? When he took on that role as a Nazarite, when he took on that role from the womb to be perfect unto the Most High, you understand? And he lived that he fulfilled what was given unto him from his mother, who received the message from the angel that came and spoke to him, right, during this time. So our brother Samson was a mighty savior during his time, right? You're going to see in these last days that we're going to have an abundance of saviors, right, in this earth. You understand that the Lord is going to put the spirit on, to guide and lead Israel in the last days. So let's go back to where we was in Genesis 49.
The book of Genesis, chapter 49, verse 16.
Mm-hmm.
And shall judge his people as one of the tribes of Israel.
So Dan shall judge his people as one of the tribes of Israel, right? Because there was many judges that came from the tribes of Israel, right? During certain periods of time. Go ahead.
Dan shall be a serpent by the way.
Dan shall be a what?
A serpent by the way.
Dan shall be a serpent by the way. What does a serpent do? A serpent is somebody that what? Beguiles you. A serpent is one that will, set themselves up in your role. That spirit of Satan was upon Dan, right? And that's why he tricked the tribes of Levi. He tricked, the tribes of Judah. You understand? And as soon as Ephraim fell, Dan took a place of position to put himself up as a leading tribe, and he went and conquered many lands in the Mediterranean area, right? But go ahead.
Dan shall be a serpent by the way, an adder in the path.
an adder in the path, a venomous, snake, a poisonous snake, right? He's going to be a danger to his people. Go ahead.
That biteth the horse heels, so that his rider shall fall backward.
So that his rider shall fall backwards, right? And when you look at that spiritually, that's causing his people to do what? Fall backwards, to backslide. Dan was a stumbling block to the nation of Israel by his wicked deeds, right? Let me get skip that. Let me get Ecclesiastes chapter 10 real quick. Somebody want to grab that? Because we got multiple scriptures and I don't want to burn out the mighty brother Ephraim.
Ecclesiastes
Chapter 7.
Ecclesiastes or Ecclesiasticus?
Ecclesiastes.
Con.
Chapter 7, verse 10, right? And we use this scripture a lot of times to going to the heathen nations, right? And how they have supplanted Israel. But we also got to look at our own people who have that spirit, right? That wicked spirit to want to cause people to go off, right? That got that evil spirit to want to be a backslider and want to cause the nation of Israel to go off in the last days. Brother, you ain't got to keep the laws no more. Yahushua is not the savior of Israel. They ain't nobody next to the Most High, right? They want to cancel out the whole New Testament and say it's invalid, right? They want to cancel out our savior, right? Our prince, you understand? Right? Back those that want to cause us to stumble in the last days, right? And become backsliders. That was that spirit that was on our brother Dan. But go ahead and read.
Con. This book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7, verse 10. Say not thou
chapter 10, verse 7.
Oh, chapter 10, verse 7. It's lucky.
Right. Nothing new under the sun.
All right, Con. This book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 10, verse 7.
Go ahead.
I have seen servants upon horses.
So I have seen servants upon horses, right? See, Dan was never supposed to have a leading role over the tribes of Judah or Levi, right? When it came to his place of position. But they became those that rose up and was on those horses, right? And they became leaders, in places of history when they wasn't supposed to, right? But go ahead. They had that same spirit of Esau, right? Or to be a supplanter like Jacob, right, would be in the scriptures, right? Go ahead.
And princes walking as servants,
right? So you got all of the other tribes that are walking, upon the earth, right? But go ahead.
Verse 8: He that diggeth a pit shall fall into it, and whoso breaketh an hedge, a serpent shall bite them.
A what?
A serpent shall bite them.
And so that's what you see, the same representation of what? Those that would be wicked, right? Those that would try to supplant, the people that were set up in certain positions of power, right? No different than what we have set up here in the earth today. We have a reversal in power and rulership within this nation and this kingdom we're in. We're being ruled by our wicked brother Esau in the last days, right? But us being of the sons of Jacob, we're going to pull that damn hill down and take our place of power in the last days, right? We're going to take the kingdom back, thus saith the Lord, right? So to verse 13, right?
Verse 9, whoso removeth stones shall be hurt therewith, and he that cleaveth wood shall be endangered thereby. Verse 10, if the iron be blunt, and he do not whet the edge, then must he put to more strength, but wisdom is profitable to direct. Verse 11, surely the serpent will bite without enchantment, and a babbler is no better.
And a babbler is no better, right? Go ahead.
Verse 12, the words of a wise man's mouth are gracious, but the lips of a fool will swallow up himself.
Go ahead.
Verse 13, the beginning of the words of his mouth is foolishness, and And the end of his talk is mischievous madness.
And the end of his talk is mischievous madness. Let me get 2nd Ezra chapter 13 and verse 19, right? So we're going to get into some of these understandings of why our good brother Dan, right, who should have been a mighty judge and continued along the way, right, should have just kept his place and knew his role, right? Let me get verse 19. Go ahead.
The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 13, verse 19.
I mean, chapter 3, verse 19. Slot.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, my bad.
It's all good. 3 verse 19, and thy glory went through 4 gates of fire and of earthquake and of wind and of cold, that thou mightest give the law unto the seed of Jacob.
Right, that sounds like a whole lot right there, right? The Lord went through a lot of fire, right, and a whole lot of different other situations, right? Earthquakes, right? In wind and cold, right? That should let you know that the Most High put this thing together through the spirit of the Mashiach Yahushua to give these laws to the seed of Jacob, right? So we got to be diligent in these last days and accept what was given unto us and come back to our mighty law. Go ahead.
And diligence unto the generation of Israel.
And diligence into the generations of Israel. Go ahead.
And yet tookest thou not away from them a wicked heart, that thy law might bring forth fruit in them.
So hold that. It says, and yet tookest thou not away them a wicked heart. Right. So the Lord had power to take away what? That wickedness, right? That malignant root from the garden that caused us to fall, right? The Most High could have made us straight, right? He could have said, you know what? Nah. But I got to make these people to understand that you got to go through all your trials and your errors to put on this law that you could be perfect in the last days, right? So that the law might stand, right? That's a beautiful scripture to understand that as long as there's wickedness in the earth, the law is going to stand. The law is going to be right there, right? Hey, somebody, while he's reading this, get Matthew 13 and 21. Let's roll through it. Go ahead.
And yet tookest thou not away from, okay, I read that already, Salakia. For the first Adam, bearing a wicked heart, transgressed and was overcome. And so be all they that are born of him.
Right. So all of those that come of Adam, right, are overcome in wickedness and transgressions because of what happened in the place of the garden. Right. So the only way that we could come back to the fullness is by what? The next verse. Go ahead.
Thus infirmity was made permanent.
Infirmity was made permanent, right? Hey, can we go into that word real quick? Infirmity for the people so that they can understand what's going on here, right? Because we may have some people, they may not understand some of these words. They may not understand what's going on, right? So if thus infirmity was made permanent, right?
Infirmity, physical or mental weakness.
Right, physical or mental weakness, meaning what? You have to put on the spirit of the Mashiach Yahushua and keeping the law, which will strengthen you, right? Through thy precepts, you get understanding, right? And you hate every false way. Go ahead.
Thus infirmity was made permanent, and the law also.
And hold that, in the law also. So as long as you got weakness in the earth, right, and madness that's in the earth, right, Deuteronomy 28 verse 28, our people are smitten with madness, right? As long as you have madness within the earth, the curse that came from breaking the law, this law is going to stand always, forever. Don't even think about it going away, right? In fact, you're evil for taking away from the laws of the Most High when he didn't take them away himself. Go ahead. He tells you what laws he took away. But we're going to see what was in the people from the beginning. Go ahead.
And the law also in the heart of the people with the malignity of the root.
Right. So let's go into that word malignity, right? Of the root, right?
So that the good departed away and the evil abode still.
Right. Stay right there. Pull up that word malignity.
Con. Malignity, persistent, intense ill will or desire to harm others.
There you go, right there. Malice, strife, everything that goes right with that wicked fruit that ain't gonna bear nothing good with it, right? So you're a wicked root. You understand? You're deep in wickedness. You understand? Go ahead.
So that the good departed away
Mm-hmm.
and the evil abode still.
Right. So the good departed away and the evil abode still, meaning what? The Most High is of a just balance. You have people in this earth that's of evil wickedness, right? In that malignant root. And you have those that will put on righteousness in the last time and keep the laws, right? Let's go to the Matthew scripture real quick. Matthew's 13 and 21 through 23. Go ahead.
It's book of Matthew, chapter 13, verse 21.
Mm-hmm.
Yet he hath not root in himself,
Right.
but dureth for a while.
Mm-hmm.
For when tribulation or persecution ariseth because of the word,
Mm-hmm.
by and by he is offended.
Right, and you're gonna see through many of the things that went on with the tribes of Israel, right? There was many of our people that fell by the wayside of the word, right? Even when we was delivered out of Egypt, right, and we saw the miraculous wonders of the Most High, we still crossed over and did what? Started building calves and trying to celebrate and reverence other gods, right? So that root, you wasn't sealed. You see that? So we still had those, right? That was amongst us. And when we came out of Israel, when we came out of Egypt, understand the tribe of Dan split. Many of them went a certain way, right? And they went through the Canaanites lands earlier, and they took over many of those areas in the Palestine area. And why that name is what it is, right? Where it says Dan of the Palestine, right? That name Palestine, keep that in mind, because they went off, and the other tribes of Dan that were still there amongst the children of Israel when we came out of Egypt, they was those on the backside that was what? Protectors, guiders, right? They was killing the other people that was trying to harm Israel going through the wilderness, right? So Dan was even still back then that mighty warrior and hunter, right? But go ahead.
Verse 22.
Mm-hmm.
He also that receives seed among the thorns
Mm-hmm.
is he that heareth the word, and the care of this world and the deceitfulness of riches choke the word,
Mm-hmm.
and he becometh unfruitful.
And he becometh unfruitful. And that's what our people did. Go ahead. Get the last verse real quick.
Verse 23. But he that receives seed unto the good ground,
Mm-hmm.
he is he that heareth the word and understandeth it,
Mm-hmm.
which also beareth fruit and bringeth forth some 100-fold,
Mm-hmm.
some 60,
Mm-hmm.
some 30.
And that's what we're dealing with right now, right? We got people that are out and understand the word and are bringing in fruit, right? In the last days, right? People are on a mission in the last days to seal the tribes of Israel. We trying to wake up Jacob in the last days, man. That's our mission, right? Let me get Joshua 19 and 47. Somebody, let me get Judges 18 and 16.
Okay, Judge.
All right. And if another brother can grab Judges 5 and 17.
Said Joshua 8.
Joshua 19 and 47.
The book of Joshua, chapter 19, verse 47. And the coast of the children of Dan went out too little for them. Therefore, the children of Dan went up to fight against Lashem and took it.
And they did what?
And took it.
Right.
And smote it with the edge of the sword, and possessed it, and dwelt therein, and called Lashem Dan, after the name of Dan, their father.
Right. So understand this, right? That these Danites, everywhere they went to, they kind of put their name on whatever countries that they took during the time and periods when they ruled in certain areas. Dan took on many names throughout history, right? Especially when they ruled in the time of the Greeks, in the time of the Trojan Wars, right? You got some of the tribes that they say, the tribes, you talk about Japheth, right? And we're going to get into that later, a little bit when you go into Japheth and Javan, and you look at those areas, you're going to find out that Dan was rolling with them. Why? Because they understood the same thing, right? But what you got right there?
Oh, just Lashem is over there in the West Bank, over there real close to Palestine.
Right.
West of the Palestinian city of Salfit in northern Jerusalem, or northwest Jerusalem, on the West Bank.
Right. So that's letting you know, that's an indication that wherever Dan went to, they always put their name there to identify, who their people was. They was very prideful. Dan was a prideful warrior, and he didn't play. He ruled by the sword. One of the attributes that he did, what? He picked up from who? Cain, the spirit of Cain. He picked up from who? The spirit of Esau. Esau was going to rule by the sword and take over many lands and rule and have dominion over the people. That's the spirit that Dan took on, the same spirit of Satan, the serpent spirit, right? Go ahead. Where we at on that?
48. This is the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Dan. According to their families, these cities with their villages.
That's right. All right, so we're gonna stop right there on that. Let me get the other scriptures. Let me get Judges 18 and 16.
This book of Judges, chapter 18, verse 16.
Go ahead. And we're gonna let most of these scriptures speak for themselves, until I go into these other records. But go ahead.
All praises. And the 600 men appointed with their weapons of war, which were of the children of Dan.
Which was of who?
The children of Dan.
Right. So look at this right here. Dan is a mighty warrior, man. And you got to understand that land that he took, right? And Laash, that story right there, when you go back, read the whole story of Joshua, the 18th chapter, by the way, because them people was peaceful people that was occupying that space during that time. When you read the whole chapter, right? They was minding their business, right? But Dan, being the warrior that he is, man, he still had that spirit to want to take over lands, right? Like the Most High told the children of Israel to do. You understand? To go into many different lands and kill everybody. That's what Dan did. Dan still had that spirit on him, right? Go ahead.
Stood by the entering of the gate. Verse 17, and the 5 men that went to spy out the land went up and came in thither and took the graven image and the ephod and the teraphim and the molten image, and the priests stood in the enterings of the gate with the 600 men that were appointed with weapons of war.
Right. So now you see what's going on here. This is going into Dan going off and getting ready to start servicing other gods, right? He's setting up, he didn't grab the priest up. He's getting ephods together. He's putting all these things together to start doing what? Building things of calf material again, to start servicing other gods. You're going to realize when you go into the New Testament and you look at many of those areas where certain gods was erected, right? You're going to find out that Dan is the one who set up them gods for the other nations, right? To go the hell off too, right? But go to verse 29. That's a lot. Verse 29 through 31.
Verse 29. And they called the name of the city Dan, after the name of Dan, their
Mhm.
father,
Mhm.
who was born unto Israel.
Mhm.
Howbeit, the name of the city was Lais
Mhm.
at the first. Verse 30, and the children of Dan set up the graven image, and Jonathan, the son of Gershom, and the
Mhm.
son of Manasseh,
Mhm.
he and his sons were priests to the tribe of Dan
Mhm.
until the day of the captivity of the land.
Mhm.
Verse 31, and they set them up Micah's graven image,
Mhm.
which he made all the time at the house of the Most High in Shiloh.
Right. So when you go into this story and this history right here, you're gonna find out. First of all, Micah was not a Levite. Okay, Micah was a Danite in the scripture. So he was setting up Levite priests to go off and to begin to build certain gods. Okay, to service them, because that's what Dan did. They went off, right? When you go into the accounts in First Kings and Second Kings, right? In the seventh, you go to Second Kings, the 17th chapter, you can see where a lot of this started, where the tribe started to service other gods, right? And reverence those gods. I don't want to reverence any of those, give those names any power on this particular platform tonight. But they were set up and they began to serve those gods, right?
Hey, Salaki.
So whenever you got time, if you want to read Second Kings, the 17th chapter, as well as the book of First Kings, right? And many of the various chapters, like the 7th chapter, to many different chapters in First Kings, you'll see that the Danites with the other tribes of Israel was going off and serving other gods, right? So let me get Judges 5 and 17. And Ephraim, pull up that clip real quick from that second movie. Let's get into the movie.
Hey,
Let's go on.
I think Ron has something he want to throw in there.
Oh, go ahead, Ron.
Hey,
Yeah.
Salaki, I was just listening in, but that's the spirit, because to land me back off what you going into and that
I can't hear him. Hey, Ron.
Can y'all hear me?
Your mic, Mike.
Can y'all hear me?
Con.
No, Ron.
Yeah, you might not be able to hear him.
Yeah, I can hear him.
Oh, you can't. Oh,
Can y'all hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you, but Shu can't hear you.
Con. Look,
can the platform hear him? No, that's I can't
I
hear
was
him
gonna be
though.
real quick when you
Con, we'll let you know, Shu.
Yeah, when Shu was going into that
Yeah, go ahead.
that First Kings 17 about the nation of Israel, more specifically the Northern Kingdom, going into those other gods. He's right, because a lot of those priests that was setting up the priesthood for the Assyrians were the Danites, and that's the spirit. Because actually next week,
Is he still
I'm going
talking?
into that.
Con.
So
Okay.
I'm actually going into that in the spirit next
I don't
week.
know why I
So
can't hear him. That's crazy.
it'll just roll over from this week into next week. But yeah, let them know that's all I have for that.
Con, all praises. Yeah, he that's his truth.
Yeah, Con. I couldn't even hear what he said, man. We got to go with the spirit. All praise to the Most High. Anybody could just go into what he said briefly though, so I ain't,
Well, he was saying, to land me back off of what you're going into now, is that a lot of the stuff that he's going to bring out next week for his lesson is going to also touch on a little bit of your lesson.
Con, okay. All praise to the Most High. That's the way it's supposed to be. We're supposed to feed off of each other in the spirit of the Lord, to put these lessons together. You know what I'm saying? To be able to continue in this fruitful work, to give to the people. These scriptures are not ours. These scriptures, are the Most High's, man, in the Mashiach Yahushua, in the spirit that He put on those to, produce this fine, work that we have today, man. So all praise to the Most High. We're gonna keep rolling. You got that clip real quick?
Con, did you want the trailer of
Yeah, the trailer real quick. Let's just put these ships in work real quick. Let's just see.
I got that Judges 5 and 17 too. Whenever you ready.
Con, all praise.
The oracle's words stand as a warning. Sparta will fall. All of Greece will fall. And only stout wooden ships can save them. Wooden ships. And a tidal wave of heroes' blood. Only the gods can defeat the Greeks. You will be the God King.
For glory's sake. War!
Today we will dance across the backs of dead Greeks.
She has sold her soul to death himself. She's going to bring all of hell with her.
Leonidas and the brave 300 are dead. Have I not given enough for your dream of a united Greece, Themistocles? A king, a husband.
Avenge him.
I will attack the Greeks with my entire navy.
Let it be shown we chose to die on our feet rather than live on our knees.
If death comes for me today, I'm ready.
Steady your hearts. Look deep into your souls. Save your glory!
A wind has blown across Greece. A wind of vengeance.
Dang.
Fire a little clip right there, right? Hey, but you see what's going on there, right? We got the same people, we talking about already. That clip was about the Spartans, which we are putting together to show you that these Spartans was our brethren. Those would have been, typically majority of them all black people during that time. Okay, so understand that. Right, these Danites were brothers. They were mixed. Also, so they had various. Dan was a tribe that mixed themselves. Like Ephraim did. Ephraim, they had that same spirit. They was mixing themselves amongst the nations.
Hey,
right?
hey, there's no proof of that. There's no proof of that. Hold on.
Right. So Dan was doing the same thing. Right. Dan was mixing himself. Mingling in with the nations. You understand? And destroying that pure, seed, that would come from the nation of Israel. So Judges 5:17.
The book of Judges, chapter 5, verse 7. Oh, you got it?
Yeah, Yashwan had that.
Con, get it, Yashwan.
Ezekiel 27. Yeah, or some.
This Judges 5:17. This says Gilead abode beyond Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
And why did Dan remain in ships?
Right. Why did it says Gilead, right, remained in Jordan? But why did Dan, when you go into this, right, it goes into the different tribes that was, doing certain things during this time of war. And they was occupying and doing the things that they were supposed to do. But this scripture, read that one more time.
It says Gilead abode beyond Jordan. Mm-hmm. And why did Dan remain in ships?
Why did Dan remain in the ships, man? What was Dan doing? What was his position, and what was he thinking during this time? Right? He was looking at his people. He said, "Hey, if they fall, they fall. Basically, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do my own thing on these ships, and I'm gonna go and conquer lands." Right? That's what Dan decided to do. Right? But read it. Go ahead and keep reading.
It says Asher continued on the seashore.
Mm-hmm.
And abode in his breeches.
Right. So he stood fast. He understood, what his position was during that time, right? So let me get Ezekiel chapter 27, in verse 1.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 27, verse one.
Mm-hmm.
The word of the Lord came again unto me, saying,
Mm-hmm.
Now, thou son of man, take up a lamentation for Tyrus.
Okay, so stop right there real quick, right? Somebody might say to themselves, this is talking about, the king of Tyrus, right? But let's go into that word Tyrus right there. Let's see the spirit of this scripture, right?
Strong's H 6865. Sword. Sword.
Okay.
Second entry. Sword. Sword.
All right. So when you go down right there, right, it says, right, Tyre or Tyrus, right, a rock, the Phoenician city of the Mediterranean coast. So when you pull up a map and you look at the tribes and where they were positioned, you'll see that Dan was positioned on the Mediterranean Sea coastline. Okay, and it also says when you go down there, it says what? Palestine, right? So understand this is talking about a place or a people versus a specific person, right? But go ahead, keep reading.
Let's see, I was trying to pull up a
Yeah, you're gonna pull up the map. Yeah, pull up the map of that of the tribes real quick, so we can just prove that.
This may be too early. Let me see what we got here. This one is 218 BCE. I think that's way too early. It's probably, I need later than that.
Mm-hmm.
But this is actually going into that Daniel 7 that we did last week.
Daniel's 8.
Yeah, Daniel 8.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just pull up. Just go to a map of just go to a map of the 12 tribes of Israel.
Okay,
just put it in like that. Yeah.
Damn, that shit is very small. Let's try this one.
Yeah, I think that one is good right there. You just had the mark on. I can't really see it clear, but yeah. Go down right there. No, that's okay. There we go. Right there, right. So you see, zoom out a little bit. Okay, so you see Shiloh, right? Ephraim, the land of Ephraim, the connection right there. You see, Ephraim ruled that land at that time. That's why you see his land is significantly bigger than Dan's land. But when you go out a little bit, zoom out a little bit so we can see that coastline and see what's there on that left side. Clearly up a little bit to see that Mediterranean coastline right there, right? So the people see that's the Mediterranean Sea for those that don't know, right? So if we go back with understanding of that scripture, we see that Dan occupied that land and he ruled that land. He conquered those lands right there. Why? That was really Ephraim's land. Okay, Ephraim, controlled that land in that space, right? But through the time of Jeroboam and Dan themselves, they kind of set themselves up to be in the position of the Most High. Okay, and the Most High, had to punish both of them, for what they did during that period. But go ahead and keep reading on that. Go to the 7th verse. Ezekiel 27:1. Let's go back to it, but let's go to the seventh verse.
Verse 7. Fine linen with broidered work.
No. Ezekiel 27.
Yeah, 27:7.
Oh, you still got, it looks like you got Judges
Oh,
on there.
Salakia. My bad.
Okay.
I forgot to switch it over. Fine linen with broidered work from Egypt was that which thou spreadest forth to be thy salt by thy sail. Blue and purple from the isles of Elisha was that which covered thee.
Hey, can you stop right there real quick? Can you pull up that word right there, Elisha? Right? Let's just see where that is.
Strong's H 473. Elisha. Elisha.
All right. So when you go into that, you get the understanding that that's talking about a son of Javan. Can we get somebody real quick? Let's get Genesis chapter 10, verse 4.
Con, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay,
I got it on screen if you want it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. This is Genesis chapter 10, verse 4. And the sons of Javan, Elisha, and Tarshish.
Tarshish, yeah.
Kittim, and Dodanim.
Okay. So go up to verse 2. Read verse 2 as well while we right here.
Verse 2, the sons of Japheth, Gomer, Magog, Madai,
Media, yeah.
Media, Javan.
And Javan, right?
And Javan.
So can we click on Javan right there? All right, let's get some understanding of who Dan was dealing with, right? What does that say right there?
Damn, that's what that says.
Right, Greece, right? So you get the understanding that these were Grecians right here. When you go into the records and when you go into other books of history, right? You go into the Achaeans, right, and the Damascenes, right, into that history there, you'll see that that these particular Japhites, right, was of dark skin. When you go into these records, they was not white people. You got a lot of people that kind of teach that Japheth was the white man, right? It was or Esau. Okay, with whatever that understanding is, but you're gonna find out today. Even if I may not have time to go into that record, and but I can, trust me, pull up that these particular Japhites that was occupying in that time, those that Dan was rolling with, was people of a dark skin that came from the Achaeans, right? The Achaeans are another ancient Greek place that was fighting. At one time, they was enemies to the Spartans, right? They warred with the Spartans at one time, but then they came together during that Trojan War. And that's where you get Achilles from when you go into that battle, right? Achilles was a mighty warrior, okay, that helped conquer and take that land of Troy, which was another black people, right? When you go into the Trojan Wars and you see these particular people, okay. Now I'm gonna go into some of that here in a minute, but let's finish on this point. Matter of fact, let's just prove that real quick for the sake of why we right here. All right. Let's just prove that. We already in the midst of this thing deep. We might as well just keep rolling, right? Let's just prove that real quick. So when you look, anybody ever watched that movie Troy thoroughly, right? To understand how these people look, right? So they gave us a fabrication of the truth when it comes to that history, when they gave us Brad Pitt, right? That's why the devil had to clean it up for himself and they gave us a week series on Netflix with a black Achilles, right? So let's go into Brad Pitt's version real quick. This is story night, movie night, right? All praise to the Most High. Let's pull up a clip from Troy real quick, from the movie Troy, okay? And let's see what these people look like, right? Let's see. Let's just see if Helen of Troy understood that she was an Israelite. Let's see. I could be making this up, right?
You sure could, but then that would make you a liar.
Yeah, let's try to get past the point of him looking like,
like a madness.
Yeah.
The men found her.
All right, stop right there. All right. Now, those that have an eye that can see in the spirit of what it is that we're looking at, can somebody pull up real quick in the spirit the book of Numbers, chapter 15? And you know what I want.
15, 28.
38.
38, yes.
Mm-hmm.
The book of Numbers, chapter 15, verse 38.
Mm-hmm.
Speak unto the children of Israel,
Uh-huh.
and bid them that they make them fringes in the borders of their garments.
Right. So we can clearly see this this woman here that's posing to be the beautiful Helen of Troy that everybody wanted in that time. I mean, these men was at war. This whole war started over this woman right here, right? But look at what she has. Go ahead, keep reading that scripture.
Make them fringes in the borders of their garments throughout their generations,
Mm-hmm.
and that they put upon the fringe of the borders a ribbon of blue.
Right. So they put upon the borders, right, a ribbon of blue, and you can clearly see before he, undresses himself. Praise to the Most High. You can clearly see that that's a ribbon of blue and fringes that the devil put there, right, for our people who probably wouldn't even catch this to identify that these are Israelites, right? In the spirit, they knew how to put this out there for our people, but they confused you with what? With Brad Pitt being Achilles, right? So can we stop right there and clip off that? Now, can we show the Achilles? Can you pull up the black Achilles on that Netflix series real quick? It'll come up. Just put in black Achilles, right? And then I want to go in to the records in the Iliad as well. All praises.
Achilles. Why am I not seeing it? Fury of the. It's not that one.
Yeah. Hey, everybody went nuts when it came down. No. Just Google. Just go ahead and Google. The black Achilles. All right. And I just want a picture. It don't have to be the actual all right.
So we got here.
Right. So look at this right here. You see what the devil decided to do? The devil knew that they gave us a little token, a little piece, a little prize, right? With that movie Troy, the Brad Pitt version, right? They showed us Helen having the fringes on and a border of blue. But the one thing that they didn't give us was a clear version of who these people truly was, right? The Achaean, that's an Achaean right there. That's a Greek brother right there. That's an Israelite right there. Okay. When you understand what this is going into, that's why they gave him the color of a brother, and these Europeans went nuts, right? These Caucasians went nuts over history that ain't even theirs. And how dare you put up a black image of Achilles? We want Brad Pitt. They wanted Brad Pitt, like many of our people. They want that white Messiah. They can't stand the head that the Messiah is a black man. So-called black man, right? They can't stand that thing. But you see this right here? You can't get away from it, right? So right here in the Iliad, right? You go into these Achaeans right here, right? If you can even pull that up real quick.
The Achaeans.
No, the Iliad. Just go into the Iliad. You still got that up?
Oh, Khan. Yeah,
Let's go into that real quick for the people that.
All
right. So listen. All right. This is the Homer, right? The Iliad. Okay. And what we're gonna do here is we're gonna go into what they say the Achaeans, right?
Which page?
Matter of fact, let's just go into the whole thing real quick. Go. Let's start with Menelaus, right? When you go into the history of what this is even talking about, right? Go into Menelaus real quick. All right. Let's just go into the whole thing. Menelaus, right? Let's see who that is. Let's identify these people. And why
442.
Huh?
You want 442 or do you want the glossary?
I want the glossary. Let me get 666.
Can you see that?
Con. All right. So you see that right there? You got Menelaus, right? Which was what? He was an Achaean, right? Son of Atreus, king of who? Lacedaemon. Lacedaemon, right? Y'all remember that from earlier? The Lacedaemonian, right?
Isn't that funny? That name Atreus, you know, they have, you know, yet again, Esau, you know, and his devices, but there's a game called God of War, right? And they just released a new version recently. And his son, his name is Atreus. And of course, he is a Spartan. You know, and of course, they're both Esau.
Wow, look at that right there. You see how they do, right? So look at that right there. You see, he was Atreus, king of Lacedaemon, right? Brother of who? Agamemnon, right? So when you go and you watch that movie Troy, you're going to see all of these people in that movie. Okay, so Agamemnon was who? The husband of Helen, who we just got finished looking at on that screen right there. Helen, the most beautiful woman during that time, right, was a so-called black woman. Okay, understand that. Understand that these was black people, so-called black people that they say, but they were really Israelites. Okay. So this is what we got to go back into. So let's go over in this glossary, and let's go to the Lacedaemonians, right? Let's go into that name Lacedaemon real quick. Let's pull that up. Let's see what we talk. Let's see what we're talking about.
I think it was 655. No, probably more than that.
Let me see. It's going to be on 663.
There it is. Right there.
So you got Lacedaemon, right? City kingdom of Menelaus, right? What we just got finished reading about, right? In the southern Peloponnese, right? So when you go into that into the Peloponnese, right? That's what the Spartans took over those lands, right? Which were Danites through the spirit, you know, of these scriptures that we're going into and understanding that these were our brothers at arms that one time, you know, they lost their way, right? But you know what? They got to come back as Gentiles, man. They got to come back as these Gentiles, and they're gonna be on the outside of the courts, like the scriptures say, because they've been alienated, right? But let's deal with it, man. Let's go over. It says Lacedaemon, right? So let's go over to some of these other people real quick, right? Let's go back and let's go to the Trojans real quick. Let's see. So that would be page 682, right? In the glossary of the Iliad. All right. So you got Trojan right there, right? Trojan. All right. These are people of the Troad in the allies of Troy arrayed against the Achaeans, right? So that's your Trojan War. That would be Achilles going up and taking down the cities of Troy and destroying Hector, right? Who in that movie should have been a brother. But go down to Tros as well on that, right? So you got Tros right there, right? It says ancestral king of Troy, right? Son of enriched Thunius, right? Enriched Thunius, father of Ilias, right? In which this Iliad is produced from. Okay. And it goes into the great grandfather Priam, right? Which was the ruler of Troy during that time, right? So let's go over to Erich Thunius right there, right? Let's see. Let's go into his line a little bit. Let's see. Let's put this together. Enrich Thunius, right? So Enrich Thunius, son of Dardanus, right? You got to pay attention to these names now, because now we're getting into understanding where these particular names came from, right? So, son of Dardanus, father of Tros, forebearer of the king of Troy. Okay, so let's go over into the to Dardanus, right? Let's go over to 652. Just trying to run through this and breeze through this real quick, right? I can go a little deeper with this, but for the sake of time, if y'all want to come back to it, we can. All praise to the Most High. So let's start up right quick. Dardanians, right? Dardanians, okay. And through the spirit, you could see that they still mixed in that name Dan right there. Now I can, through the spirit, pull up a source that will show you that these Dardanians, right, and these sons of daughter are in clear connection with the Danites. Okay, when you go into it, like the Dorians, right? If you pull up an article, it also tell you that the Dorians were that King Leonidas himself came from the Dorians, which linked to the Danites when you go into the further history of who these people are. So go down to Dardanus real quick right there. It says Dardanus, right? Son of Zeus, father of enriched Thunius, forebearer of Priam in the kings of Troy. So Priam, which was Hector's father, that was sitting up there, he should have been a brother, should have looked, like a brother during that time, man. But they, Esau being Esau, and these people controlling, these the media and the movies, and they telling their vision for the people, right? We got to look at these, the sorcery that they put on us, and we got to chew the meat and spit out of the bones of what they even show us on these movies and TV shows, right?
And Salakia, if I may,
Go ahead.
It's so funny that they put their movies like Troy and all these movies are under the science fiction, the mythology section, right? And of course, it is a myth that that these gods or that these people that they bring out to us are Esau.
Right.
It is a myth.
That's right. Even when you go into these records, right? All right, look, let's keep going with this little bit of history right here. Let's pull up the Nature Knows No Color line real quick for the people. Let's just go into it, right? Let's just show how let's see how these people viewed let's see how these people viewed us, back in the ancient world, right? It's another book, right? I have here. Nature Knows No Color line. Okay. And understand this, right? We bring these books, any Israelites that you come across, we go out here with these books in history and we bring it out for the people. We don't ask no money. We go and we present the information as it's given to us through the spirit of those that came before us and our rightful teachers, that got a lot of this information during a period where it was much harder to do this research and this work, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let me get page 29. Right, and this is Nature Knows No Color line by J.R. Rogers. Okay, so let's see how during the time of the Greeks, these Greeks, let's see how they viewed, the people, that come from us. Okay, so right there on that highlight right there, all praise to the Most High. Can you read that?
It said Negroes were first worshipped in Greece and Rome.
Mm-hmm.
White masses bowed down to black deities.
Right. So any way you can pull up that unbelievable as well on there?
Dang.
Yeah, let's dive deep, man. Let's go to work. Or I could pull it up right here real quick, man. I could just matter of fact, no. Don't even worry about it, right? Let's just do this like this real quick for the people, man. All right, we got the books right here too. So you see that these are the black deities that was set up. This is the book Undeniable for the people, okay, that may be interested and want to pick up even this book right here. So look at this right here, right? This is a time and period where they set up the black deities. That is the Black Madonna, okay, right? And that would be what as the Black Christ that they put up during that time. Now we don't worship Mary, the Madonna, or none of that other stuff that these people got going on, right? But this is what our brother Dan set up for these heathens. You see that through the spirit. Our brother Dan got these heathens over there worshiping black people. Okay, understand that, right? So keep going on that. Go down to where it says when this letter evolved down there, right?
Oh man, hold on, I got you right here. Let me see which
back in the Nature Knows No Color line, same thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I was about to go into Undeniable.
No. I just pulled it out. Unless you want to for the people.
It's up to you. You're the teacher here.
Yeah. So go. So yeah, if you want to pull it up, that's fine for the people so they can see it clear. I'm cool with that.
Which page you want me to go to?
That would be on page. Let me see. Page 75. Actually, you can just flip the pages from 71 and just flip them for the people so they can see those images and the deities, that was set up that these Greeks and Romans, was worshiping. And hell, the Pope still going there and bowed down to the Black Madonna, the Black Madonna, man. That thing going slow. 71.
Salakia, they cut me off. They only gave me up to page 21. That's
All right, don't worry about it. All praise to the Lord. It's all good. Through the Spirit, like I said, we got the book right here. Y'all can see that right there. It's clear. I see it on my screen, so I know y'all see this. Right, that is what you call them worshiping black deities over in these places. Right, but let's go back. Let's go back to this right here. It says. It says when this letter evolved right into the worship of the Black Madonna in Black Christ, Christian whites also bow down to them. Right? So understand that they bow down, to the black people, right? But let's go over to the next page real quick on this book, real quick, Ephraim. And let's show the people how these people viewed you as a so-called, black person back during these times. You should love yourself. If you're a person of color, love yourself. Understand that these people, they hate you because they ain't you. All right. So verse 30, let's go to chapter 30 real quick. And let me see. 30 down, seeing. I just want the portion right there, where you're at right here, Ephraim. Where you go down and it says, you see where it says in the old English right there at the bottom of that paragraph where you at? See where your cursor is right there?
Let me see.
Right here at the bottom, right there, the last paragraph, right there. An old English saying was right at the bottom of that, Ephraim.
Oh, right here.
Yeah, Khan.
Right here.
Right.
An old English saying was, to see a black man the first thing on waking up in the morning is an omen of good luck.
Damn. Hey, listen, hey, all through this book right here, okay? That's what you see. This is what they was loving to see you. They love to see you. I thought you knew. Yeah, they loved you. They said you was good luck to look upon. Right? They felt good when they saw you walking down the street, right? The black man and the black woman, right? You understand that? People of color, those people that have that spirit, that glorious spirit upon them, all of the nations of Israel, understand that these people admired you, they loved you, right? But they only loved what they wasn't, what they couldn't have, which was these laws, statutes, and commandments. They couldn't have it, didn't belong to them. They knew what they saw was righteous, you see, and they did everything to destroy our people, right?
And
so
then mimic.
You said what, brother?
And then mimic.
That's right. Right. So that's, we just wanted to go into a little brief history real quick in this lesson to show, for certain things. So let's go back real quick into the book of Ezekiel, 27 verse 19. Now let's get ready to wind this down. All praise to the Most High.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 27, verse 19.
I could have made this a lot longer. This could have been I could have flipped this multiple ways through the spirit. But I'm cutting out some of this, for the sake of time. All praise to the Most High, right? Just so y'all know. But Ezekiel 27 and 19.
Dan also and Javan going to and fro, occupied in thy fairs.
Right.
Bright iron, cassia, and calamus were in thy market.
So understand, we went into that, right? It says Dan also and Javan. We just showed that Javan was a part of who? The Greeks, right? The Greeks or the Grecians, right? Those people that occupied that time, that space and time, right? During the time of Javan and Dan, right? And they mixed amongst themselves in amongst the people. Okay, go ahead.
Dedan was thy merchant in precious clothes for chariots.
Right. So they was merchants, right? They ruled the sea. They were called sea people at one point in time as well, like we went into earlier, right? But go ahead a little bit.
Arabia and all the princes of Kedar, they occupied with thee in lambs and rams and goats. And these were they thy merchants. The merchants of Sheba and Ramah, they were thy merchants. They occupied in thy fairs with chief of all spices and with all precious stones and gold.
So understand this, through many of their travels and journeys, right? They, like I said earlier, they acquired a lot of riches by the people that they conquered. Okay, so the people can understand these brothers. Jump down to verse 25. Through the spirit of this lesson, I'm gonna just jump into something else to tie this together to show how the Most High is going to bring this thing together through the ships of what? Go ahead.
The ships of Tarshish.
The ships of Tarshish. Understand that these are the Gentile nations that's spoken of in Genesis the 10th chapter. Go ahead.
The ships of Tarshish did sing of thee in thy market.
Go ahead.
And thou wast replenished and made very glorious in the midst of the seas.
That's right, man. So understand that these people, all of these lands, you're gonna understand that these are people that Dan mixed in with, right? And through that spirit that he wasn't supposed to give and mix himself amongst the nations, but many of us as a people went off. All of the tribes went off and mixed amongst the nations, and they wasn't supposed to. But through the spirit of the Lord, man, hey, we coming back. The power of the Messiah, he's gonna sift, throughout the nation of Israel in the spirit and connect us and bring us all back together, right? So let me get on this because Joshua went into the scriptures in the book of Acts 16 when I cut out, right? He read Acts 16 and 1. Let me get Acts 18 and 4. Real quick, if brothers could grab these scriptures. I know I can't hear where I am, but if he reads, that's fine. Just let me know when he's done. Let me get John 12 and 20. And let me get Acts 9 and 29. And I just want to bring out certain points. And somebody get Acts, or I get Acts 17 and 1. All right, so let's just roll through these real quick. I just want to pull up certain points to show like Yahshua was going into, and we already did. A matter of fact, does anybody have a compact dictionary as well?
I got one behind me.
You do? All right. Can you go into the Hellenist and pull up that definition, as well as the Grecians, right?
Oh, Hellenist.
All right, so we want Greece and we want Hellenist real quick while we read these. And
I got Hellenist right now.
All right, Khan, all praises.
It says Hellenist, Jews who made Greek their tongue.
You understand that? Go ahead.
And with it, often adopted Greek ideas and practices.
Right. So when you read Acts 6 and 1, right, Acts 9 and 29, that's where you get these understandings from. Anybody got any of those scriptures real quick? Acts 6.
I got 18 and 4. 18 and 4.
Let me get read 18. Now read go to 6 and 1 real quick for me. Acts 6 and 1.
Okay, come. This book of Acts, chapter 6, verse 1. And in those days, when the number of the disciples was multiplied, there arose a murmuring of the Grecians against the Hebrews.
Go ahead.
Because their widows were neglected in the
Mhm.
daily ministration.
Right. So can you go on to that Grecian right there?
Strong's G 1675. Hellenistes. Hellenistes.
All right. So go down to the definition. All right, Greek-speaking Jews. Okay, this is the information that our people have to understand, and this is nothing. This is more so should be edifying and educational to those who don't know who these Greeks are in the New Testament, to understand that, listen, these are not some other people who's going to get salvation as the children of Israel is going to get salvation and deliverance. These are brothers who fell off by the wayside, okay, and begin in idol worship and things of that nature, right?
Right here, used in the New Testament of Jews born in foreign lands and speaking Greek.
And see that, and that's what it is, man. It speaks for itself, right? So when you go over here to the definition in the same book, by the way, the combat, we use the Zondervan Combat Bible Dictionary to come across some of these points, as well as the definitions that we get from the Blue Letter Bible, Eastwater, any other, dictionaries and things you go into to get the understanding of what's written in Hebrew and what's written in Greek, to get the total understanding of the scriptures, right? So this would be Greece or Grecian or Grecia or Grecians, right? So Greece or Grecia is Greece, the home of the Hellenes, Greeks, and Grecians. However, are to distinguish, Greeks are generally those of Hellenist race, right? Which we just got finished describing. So the brother, you got Acts 16:1. You still there?
6:1.
16:1.
16
In Acts 18:4.
16:1. The book of Acts, chapter 16, verse 1. Then came he to Derbe and Lystra, and behold, a certain disciple was there named Timotheus, the son of a certain woman, which was a Jewess, and believed, but his father was a Greek.
Right. So understand that his father was a Greek, meaning he was a Jew that understood that, he was what? Go up to the top of that. You see, it's the same thing for Hellene. Okay. And we understand
Strong's G 1672.
Oh, no,
Helene.
go ahead.
Helene.
Right. Helene. And you see that those were the same names that the Spartans took place of, and those of what you would call Lacedaemonians were the Hellene of that time. Right. So if you want to read that, that's cool.
A Greek either by nationality, whether a native of the mainland or of the Greek islands or colonies.
Right.
A Hellen, a Grecian, or inhabitant of Hellas, by extension, a Greek-speaking person.
And so we already read and showed that these people that would be speaking in these different languages would be Israelites, okay? Which, they called them Jews specifically, but we know that that's a broad, way of identifying multiple people other than just the tribe of Judah, okay? So it says that, continuing on, it says, and probably, but the word may be used to indicate non-Jews, foreigners, aliens, right? Or it says Grecians were Greek-speaking Jews. So that clearly gives you the understanding of what these Grecians and what they represent. They were Greek speaking Jews, okay, that lost their way through what? Idolatry, like I said. First Corinthians, what is that? Let me see. Let me pull that up real quick. Somebody grab real quick Isaiah 66 and 19.
Whenever you want it.
Where you at?
Isaiah 66:19.
Khan's
book of Isaiah, chapter 66, verse 19.
Mm-hmm.
And I will set a sign among them,
Mm-hmm.
and I will send those that escape of them unto the nations,
Mm-hmm.
to Tarshish, to Pool, and to Lud.
So understand this right here, right? We're going into the children of Israel that are going to escape in the last days. This is a future prophecy, by the way. Okay, going into how the Gentiles are going to service the children of Israel with the riches that they've acquired and the lands, right? Many of the ships and things of that nature. But go ahead and keep going.
That draw the bow to
Mhm.
Tubal and Javan.
Right. So we just broke that down to go into Tarshish, right? And to Tabal and to Javan, that these are the isles of the Gentiles, right? In Genesis chapter 10, right? Go ahead.
Khan, to the isles afar off,
Mm-hmm.
that have not heard my fame,
Right.
neither have seen my glory, and they shall declare my glory among the Gentiles.
Right. And that's what you see happening before your very eyes, right? Even in this lesson, we're declaring the glory, right? So that many of our brothers that are far off in the aisles, right, that we can't go and see, but they can get these messages in the spirit to understand that the Israelites in the last days, these that are in the lands of Greek, of the Greek isles today, right? Those that are far off, you understand that we physically can't go and give these messages to. Through the Spirit of the Lord, we're doing it right now, right? They're receiving these messages, right? Let me get Isaiah 60 and verse 1.
Book of Isaiah, chapter 60, verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
Arise, shine, for thy light is come,
Mm-hmm.
and the glory of the Most High is risen upon thee.
Mm-hmm.
For behold, the darkness shall cover the earth,
Mm-hmm.
and gross darkness the people.
And that's what you see right now. You see gross darkness of the people, right? My brother, Officer Yashawan, he actually put that in the chat earlier about the gross darkness of the people, right? In the spirit. You see that? That the times that we're in, right? People are lovers of themselves. There's nobody that has a care and a love for their brother, right? You got people, it's more death and more killings and more crimes of nation against nation of the same nation. But there's going to come a time where, you know, we're going to be at war with these nations out here. Civil unrest is coming to this place, right? So it says gross darkness, right? The people, go ahead.
Khan. But the Most High shall rise upon thee,
Mm-hmm.
and his glory shall be seen upon thee.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 3, and the Gentiles shall come to thy light,
Mm-hmm.
and the kings to the brightness of thy rising.
Go ahead.
Verse 4, lift up thine eyes round about, and see, all they gather themselves together, they come to thee. Thy sons shall come from far,
Go
and thy
ahead.
daughters shall be nursed at thy side.
That's right, man. This is a deliverance that's going to be taking place right here. That the Lord is going to use our brothers, the Gentiles, in the last days to come and gather his people. Okay. There's going to be many forms of deliverance in the last days, man. Let me tell you right now, everybody's not going to be delivered on a spaceship, as they say, a chariot, okay, that's going to come from the heavens and zip and bring you up out of this captivity. That is not everybody's lot, okay? Understand that. Do this scripture right here, I'm going to prove that, okay? Go ahead.
Verse 5. Then thou shalt see and flow together, and thy heart shall fear and be enlarged, because the abundance of the sea shall be converted unto thee.
And that's right. That's what we're talking about. All of the Gentiles that they're going to become converted, right? And they're going to be of one sound mind to understand that we got to go and get God's people, the ones that's been suffering afar off, the ones that lost their way. You understand, that went into captivity, but they still had their lands, right? The lands that they conquered, they still have a distant identity right there. But we had to regain a lot of this knowledge in captivity to come back and service the Lord, right? Many scriptures like First Kings chapter 8, verse 46, right? Leviticus chapter 26, right? Go ahead.
The forces of the Gentiles shall come unto thee. Verse 6. The multitude of camels shall cover thee. The dromedaries of Midian and Ephah, all they from Sheba shall come. They shall bring gold and incense, and they shall show forth the praises of the Most High. Verse 7. All the flocks of Kedar shall be gathered together unto thee. The rams of Nebaioth shall minister unto thee. They shall come with acceptance on mine altar, and I will glorify the house of my glory. Verse 8. Who are these that fly as a cloud, and the doves their windows,
right? So it says, who are these that fly as cloud and as the doves to their windows? Now, many of our brothers in the spirit break this down and say these are chariots that are going to come and pick up the children of Israel and bring us, to our safe landing, right? But we know through the spirit, if you read Isaiah the 11th chapter, verse 11, right, that the Most High is going to stir the springs again and gather his people together. Many other scriptures in Second Ezra as well, when you go into the future prophecies, that will show that the Most High is going to still the springs again, so that even the 10 tribes that left during the time of the Assyrian captivity is going to come back also again by way of the seas. The seas, remember the sea people. But go ahead and keep going to the next verse.
Verse 9. Surely the owl shall wait for me.
Right. Surely the owl shall wait for me. And what?
And the ships of Tarshish first.
And the ships of Tarshish first. Understand that these, when you go and pull up Tarshish real quick, by the way, let's see where Tarshish is, right? Let's see. Maybe I'm tripping when I'm reading these scriptures. I don't know.
Strong's H 8659. Tarshish. Tarshish.
Right. So basically, when you go down, the portion that I want is the Mediterranean Sea. Okay. So understand this, right? When Dan and Javan linked up, they conquered this area of the Mediterranean Sea and they ruled with ships. They became the merchants of the sea, right? So go back to that scripture.
Do you want to continue?
Okay.
And the ships of Tarshish first, to bring thy sons from far, their silver and their gold with them, unto the name of the Most High, thy God, and the Holy One of Israel, because he had glorified thee. Verse 10. And the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their king shall minister unto thee.
Right.
For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee. Verse 11. Therefore thy gates shall be open continually. They shall not be shut day nor night, that men may bring unto thee the forces of the Gentiles, and that their kings may be brought.
Verse 12.
Verse 12. For the nation and the kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish. Yea, those nations shall be utterly wasted.
So understand that, right? The nations, right? The Gentile nations that will not serve the children of Israel, you know, like the prideful fighting Irish, the prideful fighting Irish in the other video, if you can watch that, right? The damn devil said, you know, that he want to be Israel so bad. He don't want his judgment. He don't want to accept the fact of what his nation have done to the children of Israel, right? Just like many of these other nations that are pridefully say, well, you know what? No, I'm the children of Israel. You know, now all of a sudden everybody want to be the children of Israel. When we was first claiming to be the children of Israel, you know what I heard? Why you want to be that? They was rebellious against God. And I'm sitting there looking at like, Negro, you rebellious now. So that makes you fit the curses, buddy. Okay. So let's deal with it. All right. So let me get Romans the 11th chapter real quick. Let me get verse 1, then we're gonna close out to the Spirit of the Lord. Romans 11 verse 1.
The book of Romans chapter 11 verse 1. I say then, have God cast away his people? God forbid.
Nah, God the Most High ain't cast away his people that he set up a covenant with, an agreement with from the beginning. Okay, he didn't do that. He ain't throwing away his people. As much as these nations want to cast off the children of Israel in the last days, understand this: you're going against the commandments of your Creator when you do that. Go ahead.
For I also am an Israelite, of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin.
Go ahead.
God hath not cast away his people which he foreknew.
Right. God ain't cast away his people which he foreknew, right? That he knew would go off, declaring the end from the beginning, right? He knew these people was going to go off. He knew we was going to go off, the Jews alike, right? In Israel, those that was split at one time, okay? Through the spirit of understanding, you know what I'm talking about, right? That these particular tribes would go off, but we would have to come back. You understand? Go ahead.
What ye not what the scripture saith of Elias, how he maketh intercession to God against Israel, saying, Lord, they have killed thy prophets and digged down thine altars, and I am left alone, and they seek my life.
All right, go ahead and jump to verse 25 and 26.
For I would not, brethren, that ye should be ignorant of this mystery, lest ye should be wise in your own conceits.
Right, because many of the people that read these scriptures is wise in their own conceit. They twist the word of the Lord, you know, to fit all people in, you know, to the Most High's mysteries in his kingdom. You understand? They want to turn the Most High's kingdom into a melting pot for everybody to enjoy this thing, while his children suffered in many other people's kingdoms and rulership. Right? You can't take away these promises, man. Go ahead.
That blindness in part is happened to Israel.
Right. Blindness in part have happened to Israel. Many of the tribes of Israel went the hell off, man. But through the spirit of the Lord and the Mashiach Yahushua, we coming back in the last days. Go ahead.
Until the fullness of the Gentiles be come in.
And the fullness of the Gentiles are coming in these last days that we're in right now. That's why all hell is breaking loose. Go ahead.
And so all Israel.
And so who?
All Israel shall be saved.
Right.
As it is written.
As it is written in the book of Isaiah, the 59th chapter and the 20th verse. Go ahead.
There shall come out of Zion the deliverer, and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob.
Let me get the book of Matthew chapter 24 and verse 14.
The book of Matthew chapter 24 verse 14. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations,
Mm-hmm.
and then shall the end come.
And there you have it. We out here, we've been sent out in the last days as the children of Israel to go out to the four corners of the earth, right? By the streets, by this broadcast that you see right now, to teach the truth of the gospel in the last days. We are the living witnesses in the fulfillment of prophecy in the last days as the children of Israel. Thus saith Yahweh, thus saith Yahweh Shai. Okay. And that is the end of my time. And all praises to the Most High for bringing an end to these nations. Okay. All praise to the Most High, man. I want to say the water Yahweh Shai, right? And a mighty shalom, to all of those that are viewing this broadcast, as well as those that have come across this for the edification of the people in the last days, man. We are Yahweh's camp, and hey, we're gonna speak this truth, man, till the missiles hit. Thus save the Lord. Right? Anybody else got something that we're gonna close out with?
Kwam Yasharala. That's all I can say.
Kwam Yashala.
Kwam Yashala. No, yeah, that was a mighty breakdown. All praises to the Most